magic of owning an air-cooled 911. I love this car so much, you know. You could be wondering what's so special about air-cooled 911s. You probably heard that, read that quite a bit, that air-cooled 911s are special. Well, I can tell you they absolutely are. There's loads of reasons for it. They just smell special, you know, they kind of look special, they feel special, they drive special. I could go on and on. Hi guys, so today we're out in my 993. It's been a while. I've been using the Boxster quite a lot recently, so to get back out in the 993 is just fantastic. I always say it, but each time I come back out in this car, I'm just reminded of how wonderful and special it is. It really is, you know, I love this car so much. We're going quite a slow pace here because it's really sort of a small, tight country roads where we are right now. So we're going pretty slow. I thought I'd get a chance to have a chat. So today I thought I'd do a video on Porsches that have risen dramatically in value. I've actually been asked, I've had a few requests to do this video. So here it is. So we're going to come out today in my 911 Type 993 and discuss which Porsches have really risen dramatically in value. I won't go into each and every single car in detail. I'll give you a wee snapshot of some of the detail of some of the cars. But the whole idea is just to give you something to go away and think about, and perhaps do your own research into a wee bit further as well. And as always, guys, these videos are unscripted. It's just my thoughts, just streaming what I'm currently thinking right now, and trying to think about the Porsches that I've appreciated the most in money terms over the last while. I'm always a bit reluctant to do value-based videos because the value of a car is going to depend on when you see this video and whereabouts in the world that you live. So as I usually say, it's always worth checking out where you live, be it in the States or the UK or Australia or wherever it is, and see what the car market's currently doing at a given time, because it may be different from what it is here at this precise moment in time in the UK, which is where we are. Back in time, the very first Porsche sports car, if you like, the 356, that's rocketed in value, absolutely. But you know, there's lots of cars, if we go into the details, there's lots of Porsches that have really shot up in value. But let's just take a wee snapshot. So what comes to mind is the 968 Club Sport. Some time ago you could pick them up really cheaply, as you could a lot of old Porsches, but nowadays their prices have probably tripled. I won't give you the prices again because it's going to depend on where you are. It's going to be a regional thing, and depending on where you are in the world, the price is going to differ. So I won't go into the UK prices because it may not be relevant at this video, depending on when you watch it. But the first one that comes to mind is the 968 Club Sport. Great value car, great driving Porsche. Also the Porsche 928, the Porsche 928, especially the GT, the manual GT, rocketed in value. I remember those were 10 grand at one point, 12 grand. Now they're nearer 50. All Porsche 928s went up in value, but the GT in particular, especially has went up quite a bit in value. Manual gearbox, quite a rare car. So yeah, the 928 is definitely up there. Now we can talk about values. We can talk about, basically we can summarise it as saying all Porsche 911 air-cooled 911s have pretty much rocketed in value. The sort of our standard cars, if you like this one, this is a standard C2 body, narrow body, manual gearbox. The standard cars like this, you know, they've all went up. All the air-cooled 911s have all went up across the range. At the start it was the coupes that went up more than the Targas and the convertibles, but now they've all went up. You know, they're so rare and desirable and collectible that all air-cooled 911s have trebled in value, sometimes more than that. If we start delving into a bit more specifics, if you look at the turbo versions, the 3.2, sorry, the 930 turbo was the first turbo 911 turbo to be available from the mid-70s. That car has quadrupled in value plus, you know. I remember those cars were available for something like 15 grand. Now you're talking about 4 times that easily plus, and you can go even higher than that again. So all air-cooled 911 turbos rocketed in value, and that includes the 964 turbo, the 3.3 and the 3.6. The 3.6 especially, a rare car. That was the one in the film Bad Boys. It's a very rare and unique car, very desirable. But the 993 turbo, again, last of the air-cooled 911 turbos, shot up in value. The Turbo S as well. It's just, you know, the prices for these things are crazy now, you know. It's hard to believe that they used to be what they were. And that's one of the things that I think about when I think about Porsche ownership. Porsche ownership sort of teaches you to be really careful about hindsight. The thing about hindsight, you can't look too much into the past when you own a Porsche, you know, because you'll end up getting upset about how much they used to cost compared to how much they cost now. Likewise, a lot of Porsche owners sell their 911 or whatever, and they regret it later. They get seller's remorse, as I call it, and they look back and they think, oh man, I shouldn't have sold that car. So when you're a Porsche owner, you tend to kind of be trained to live in the present as a good thing, and not look too much into the past, because hindsight is a wonderful thing, like you know. But yeah, 964s, just to go back again to the 911 turbos, all these cars are all special and very desirable, as are any special editions of any air-cooled 911s, or indeed any 911s in general. But if we go back to like the say the 911 Speedster, for example, which we'll cover a wee bit more later in the video, the 911 Speedsters special edition, rare, values for those rocketed. You got the 3.2 Speedster, you get the 964 Speedster, you get a couple of 993 Speedsters, albeit they're very, very rare. One was made for Ferry Porsche, and the other one was made for Jerry Seinfeld, the American comedian. 993's Speedster, extremely rare. The more modern Speedsters are still rare, but they're not as rare as the air-cooled ones. So what I'm trying to say is, like, the special editions of the air-cooled Porsches are even more desirable and even more expensive, and have rocketed more in value than the sort of standard cars. If you talk about the early 3.2 cars, even the wide body super sport versions, the turbo look, the SSE, those are very expensive as well. Again, partly because they're so rare. You know, the wide bodies, the early air-cooled wide bodies, they're all rare and expensive. So those, I remember those being really cheap at one point. I came close to buying one. Same with the Targas. The Targa Sports, you know, I came very close to buying one of those for £14,000 back in 2007. Those cars just now, you know, 4 times that. But that's just an example, you know. Any kind of early wide body 911 is going to be rare and desirable. And if we keep looking at special editions, we talk about the 993 that we're in right now. You know, the GT2, or was it GT? It was called, but people call it the GT2. Crazy money, you know, over £1 million now for one of those. Again, because of their importance in the Porsche brand and the history of Porsche, and because they're so rare and expensive. The GT2s continue to be rare and expensive. See, Porsche are quite good at limiting runs of certain cars that they know are going to hold their value, and they keep them desirable by keeping the price, production numbers fairly low. So the GT2 started with the 993 type, and it carried on with the 996 GT2 and the 997 and beyond. Anything with a GT2 badge or GT2 RS badge is going to be super expensive, and it has. Same goes for the GT3s, guys. The first GT3 came out with the Type 996 911, the first water-cooled 911, and it's expensive from the off. So, you know, but that really did go up in value, as did the GT3 RS. Those were really cheap at one point. People used to thrash them around the racetrack. Not now. Real and expensive. Really, you know, they've just, the values went through the roof with these cars. It's astonishing when you think about it. So that kind of wraps up the 911s, the air-cooled 911s. But moving on to the water-cooled, I mentioned the 996 is water-cooled, and the 997s. So any of these cars, any special editions of these cars, the turbos, Turbo S models, again, all expensive, all quite rare and expensive, desirable, and they've all shot up in value. Trying to kind of limit this so that, you know, I'm not mentioning, you know, bamboozling you too much with all these Porsche types. But the Sport Classic, it was called, from 2010, very rare. There's almost something like 250 of them made. Beautiful car, very very similar to a standard one with some design tweaks. Well, it looks visually similar, but when you actually look into it, it's quite different. Very rare, 3.8, 402 brake horsepower, very fast, you know, beautiful looking thing, lovely car, and very rare. So the 997 Sport Classic, that's a rare car and very expensive now. It's short in value. I mentioned the GT2s. Anything with the GT2 badge is rare and expensive. I mean, the 997 GT2 RS, for example, was a 2010 it came out. It's a 620 brake horsepower beast, 3.6 twin turbo. You can get to 62 in 3.4 seconds. You know, there was only 500 of them made, so it's quite a rare car. That's a kind of example of the kind of rarity of these GT cars. It's so bad, so tight. But actually, you can tell how compliant the 993 is. The suspension's pretty supple, and it's taken this terrible surface pretty well, actually. The 993 just handles so well, you know. very many made. Porsche are really good at limiting the numbers of these special editions to keep them desirable and to keep prices buoyant. Porsche know what they're doing, but it's certainly been a funny time where recently with car market, with car values, you know, because of various conditions in the world just now, the car market's been a bit skewed and it's all a wee bit strange just now. It's a bit out of the ordinary, and as such, car values right now are a bit all over the place. It's an 911 Type 991 911R. Only 991 were made as a wee nod to the 991, and you can tell that straight away because it's got the stripes going down it. It's usually white and it's got the red stripes going down the bonnet, or green stripes. Actually, there's a kind of homage to the original 911R, which is a kind of lightweight sort of a race prepared 911 from way back when. See, Porsche like to do that. They like to kind of keep their heritage going by renaming some of their more modern models, going back to their kind of glory days, to keep in line with a wee nod to their heritage, if you like. But the 911R, basically 991 made. It's a 4-litre engine, manual gearbox, 493 brake horsepower, gets you 62 in 3.7 seconds. Very fast. It's pretty much, it's like the equivalent GT3, only with a manual gearbox. A lot of GT3s came with the PDK. 911R came with a manual gearbox. It's a beautiful thing, very rare and desirable, and I've got to say, I love the 911R especially. I would love one of those cars. It's one of my favourite cars. So if anyone out there is particularly wealthy and they fancy buying me a 911 991R, I'll happily accept it, and I'll thank you in advance. Thank you. I mentioned earlier that anything with a Speedster badge is rare and desirable, and the 991 Speedster falls into that bracket. Beautiful car, lovely thing, keeps up with the Speedster ethos. It's a 2019 model. It's only the 6th edition of the Speedster that's available. 991 Speedster's a kind of swan song for the Type 991. It's a 4-litre engine from the GT3, puts out 500 brake horsepower, gets to 62 in about 4.2 seconds, very fast. So yeah, like I said before, anything for a Speedster badge is rare and desirable, and the 991 Speedster has shot up in value. The last cars we'll mention in this video will be the 911 GT3, the 992 Type, the GT3 and the GT3 RS, fantastic machines. The GT3 has a 4-litre engine, 503 brake horsepower, gets you 62 in about 3.4 seconds, 198 miles an hour top speed. I said before guys, anything with a GT3 badge, anything with a GT3 badge has really went up in value, and will probably continue to do so. So that's all for right now guys. It's just a wee kind of quick video. Just I thought while I was out here I'd do this video and just share that information with you. I hope you've enjoyed it and you've got some kind of knowledge from it, some kind of inspiration to find out more about these cars and to look into it as well. If you feel as though I've missed any cars that I've appreciated in value, by all means put them in the comments below. I'd love to read about them, and I look forward to reading them. Thanks an awful lot for watching this video guys, I always appreciate it. If you've enjoyed it, give us a wee thumbs up and a like, it really does help me. And if you want to see more related videos, subscribe to the channel, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Until then, cheers guys.